your boy young love, I give him that thing. Pancho leg stand and punchy America, Banyi Dwal, Pancho leg stand and punchy America, Banyi Dwal, walk on your leg, Kankara, what I know watching, Oga level leg, gear, power, leg, Panda with Yay, Punchy America, Panya Dwal, Chingatonga Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda Jiro, what they be Dwal venting. Stand up Punchy America, Banyi Dwal, Pancho leg stand up Punchy America, Banyi Dwal, walk on your leg, Kankara, what I know watching, Oga level leg, gear, power, leg, Panda with Yay, Punchy America, Panya Dwal, Chingatonga Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda Jiro, what they be Dwal venting.
Thank you so much to our viewers, wherever you are tuning in. Welcome to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries on this date or this day of 23rd of August 2022. And in the studio with us is our usual guest, Mr. Edmund Yakani, activist and CEO of CEPO. As you know, and some of you are familiar with Edmund Yakani, we will not have long discussion or conversation. We will briefly talk about the issue of unanimous vote of confidence, vote of no confidence motion raised on Governor of Unity State, Joseph Manytuil, by Council of State. We have heard about those news, especially yesterday, but one, and yesterday too, actually. And Edmund will discuss more. We'll try to analyze the vote of no confidence placed on him by the Council of State, and how effective will that be on the side of Governor of Unity State. Mr. Edmund, welcome. And to our viewers, you need to know, it's worth noting that Mr. Edmund is not yet in Juba. He's still in a will, Northern Barakazal. He's still trying to get facts in regard to the flood issue in a will, and some of the situation in that part of the state, that part of the country. Mr. Edmund, you're welcome with your opening remark. Thereafter, you go to discuss and analyze the vote of no confidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Am I clear to you now?
Yes, you are clear.
Thank you very much. I think thank you. I would like to say first hi to Lex Media and to viewers of Lex Media. As you said, I still speaks from a will where I am now. I think subject matter is a subject matter that linked to the commitment of the state and the government at their various levels to the agenda of accountability and justice, as we have seen the extrajudiciary killings that happen in Mayom in Unity State, which almost everybody have to cry out for that because it's inhuman and degrading action. So I think that's a good gesture that we should all appreciate, and we hope that that decision will be taken serious. So I think that's what I have to say in my opening remarks, that it is a good demonstration of a new political trend if it is respected and executed as per the position of the Council of States. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Edmund Yakani. As you are aware, the Council of State took the initiative to summon the governor of Unity States over the extrajudicial killing or execution of prisoners of war on 8th of August 2022. And in the process, they summoned him and they passed vote of no confidence on Governor Manytuil. And here, you need to tell the public and give us your perspective. How effective will this vote of no confidence work? And remember, when Manytuil was also summoned by the President of the Republic, under the pretext that you want to go and brief the President on the security status of the Unity State. We have seen the body language and the gesture of the President. So you will also talk more about that and tell us what will happen or what will be the next. When Manytuil has met the President, and he also met the Council of Ministers, Council of State rather. So what is the next move? Sorry, I'm aware network is disturbing, and to our viewers, we apologize for that. Mr. Edmund, can you give us your perspective in regard to the vote of no confidence by the Council of States? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. I have to use a disclaimer to your colleagues that the internet keep on disturbing us because where I am, there's no reliable internet service. But by your question, if I'm to give my remarks on the vote of no confidence, you are aware that the trigger of the vote of no confidence is associated with the extrajudicial killing of the 3 members who were fire escort from the movement that was established by the former General Stephen Boy in Unity State, where he calls South Sudan Liberation Movement. 3 of his soldiers were arrested in Sudan and later on brought to South Sudan. Then they were extrajudicially executed, and one of them was burned alive to death. So that has made a big national outcry that that's not the principle of South Sudan People's Defense Force policy, in a way that when you have prisoners of war, that of a country in various platforms, and that has raised a big issue over the political constituents of Unity State, that even if you are in dispute, that's not the manner how you will execute prisoners of war, because they have to undergo due legal processes, and in these due legal processes, they have to make sure that the law steps were taken, and then they are held accountable through a court of law, rather than this really jungle law. And that's has made a lot of outcry, and many people have raised it. And I know that his governor met president, and the meeting didn't went on well. But of course, now Council of State is a constitutional institution mandated to manage state affairs, exercise that vote of no confidence on the governor, simply because they believe that governor is responsible. He's supposed to respond. But I think also the vote of no confidence was triggered by the way how Sudan handled from their side, because Sudan government of war, which is a prevent.
Yeah, to our viewers, we apologize once again for the disturbance. We understand the internet, especially even in Juba, it's not that strong compared even to other countries in East and Central Africa. But our guest is live now in a Will town of Northern Baragazal. And we understand sometime our state. Yeah.
the promised land. Nina Buwaki Fidamba, Afaye Napo, Nina Burua Warab, going to the promised land. Nina Buwaki Fidamba, Afaye Napo, Nina Burua Warab, going to the promised land. Nina Kulu, Fimurka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Umurka Tanina Kileglek Shuea, Lakin Mashile Kingam, Asjan, Fisika Kisafik Lenam, Kisafik Befala, Yulule, Nawa woman, Yulule. We will stand beside you. We will raise your hands. We will walk behind you, going to the promised land. We will stand beside you. We will raise your hands. We will walk behind you, going to the promised land. We will stand beside you. We will raise your hands. We will walk behind you, going to the promised land. We will stand beside you. We will raise your hands. We will walk behind you, going to the promised land. Nina Kulu, Fimurka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Murka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Nina Kulu, Fimurka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Murka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Nina Kulu, Fimurka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Murka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Nina Kulu, Fimurka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Murka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Nina Kulu, Fimurka Wahid, Mashile Kingam, Murka Wahid.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chairman Isaac Tiang, for that break. And to our viewers, warm greetings to you all. I've seen most of you are there watching and seeing the things that Lagos State Media is doing. Thank you so much. And we still have issues with the internet because our guest is Mr. Edmund Yakani, who is currently live in a will in Northern Barakazal, and the internet is really disturbing. We will still know what to do, and we will update you. Isaac, you can still play one of the songs from one of our legends, activists, or artists rather. Thank you. Yeah, we will not, if internet will not allow us to continue with the conversation, then let me remind you, after this show, we will be hosting the State Minister of Education from Lagos State, Honorable Nelson Makoy Makur. He will come and talk to the citizens of Lagos State across the globe in regard to the education sector in our state, and most especially the 3-day conference which was held in Lagos State when the minister, the National Minister of Education, Honorable Wejang, visited the state under the theme of educational transformation. The minister will be there to talk to us, and many questions that you may ought to ask in regard to the education sector in our state, you will be free to ask them, other citizens of Lake State, and even as South Sudanese, you are entitled. Anything that is good in Lake State is also good in other state. Thank you. Isaac, go on.
I welcome back, Brother Edmund, Yakani. We know that
it was
yeah, then internet is not good.
So are you getting me now clear?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, you are clear now. Mr. Edmund, welcome back, and I think you can go straight to the topic.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Edmund. Can you hear us? Hello?
Edmund?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm adjusting myself.
Okay. It's okay. Once you are settled, just go straight to the topic so that we can compete with this network. Sorry, again, it dropped off.
بلنا تعبان من زمان يا ربنا تعال شوف أيانا بلدنا ما مرتا سودان مجاجة ما فرا علينا جالنا ميدين
Hello, Edmund. Can you hear me?
Let me go straight to the topic.
Kindly do so. Just go straight to the topic, yeah.
Can I go straight to the topic directly?
Exactly, do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry I want to speak to your viewers. I'm sorry today the internet is a bit problematic because it's a cloudy season right now in Awil. But what I said at the beginning is that this vote of no confidence is triggered by the extrajudicial killing of the 3 soldiers of Stephen Boy and the banning of one of the soldiers. And this has triggered a lot of national outcry about the behaviors for the extrajudicial killing or the execution of those 3 soldiers, whether it's under the court martial, the law of court martial under the South Sudan People Defense Force Act, or even respecting the values of human rights and respecting the rights of prisoners of war. So the Council of States, as a general, have seen that presidency practiced by the leadership in Unity State. They feel it something that's not impressive, something that they don't like it. And that's why unanimously, by the way, unanimously, all the 100 members of the Council of States have vote of no confidence for Governor Manytuil, and they have asked President to respond immediately. And I think this particular case is not going to be an easy case for the Governor of Unity State to manage, in terms of even how much his relationship is okay with the President, but also we are aware that in his meeting with the President was bitter in the way how the soldiers were executed. After these are prisoners of war that they're supposed to respect their rights, or if to apply the court-martial rule or under the military justice, then they have to undergo the due legal process, like other incidents has happened in the country. For example, you remember the case of Train Hotel in Juba. The soldiers have to undergo due legal processes, or the soldiers who are engaged in case of rape, murder, looting in Ye, twice the military justice have to undergo those processes. So the president believed that they would have undergone the similar processes if they want to be executed under the court martial. So I think that have really given a very bad political reputation to the leadership of Unity State, and in particular, Governor Joseph Manytuil. The next step is obviously whether the president will respect that or not, the vote of no confidence of the Council of States. But remember, Council of States is a constitutional institution that is mandated to manage the issues related to the states. And remember, even if you are to make an argument that because they're executed because of the way how the group of Stephen Boy forces, the way how they murdered the Commission of Mayom, the state that is written as a human rights violation, and people like us who have strongly condemned and have called for the leadership of South Sudan People Liberation Movement under General Stephen Boy to hold accountable the soldiers that were involved in that inhuman murdering of Mayom Commissioner. But the way how these soldiers were murdered is really inhuman, degrading, and it is really raising a question of challenge. And besides this vote of no confidence that is related to the extrajudicial killing of the 3 soldiers and banning of one of the soldiers who are prisoners of war from a Stephen Boy group of South Sudan People's Liberation Movement and Army, remember also there's this issue of the dredging. When the president suspended dredging, Governor Joseph Manytuil have forced the citizens to go and clean and dredge the streams or river Nanam with their hand, and there was a lot of outcry for some MPs that actually president could have immediately held him accountable by not respecting the direction of the president for the suspension of the dredging project. So these are 2 direct cases that it affects the political leadership of the president and the personality of the leadership of the president. So it's really going to be very hard for Governor Manytuil to manage that. My feeling is that he may lost that job. He may lose the job simply because based on the way how the Council of State have responded with the unanimous vote of no confidence. You may argue per the agreement, but honestly, per the agreement, they have nothing to do. What you do per the agreement is that it's an entity that have voted vote of no confidence, and there's no way out anymore for Manytuil to manage that, or for him to avoid that. He can't really manage that. There's no way out. He have to face the position of the Council of States.
Yeah, thank you, Edmund. Yeah, actually, it's a dark time on that side. But as you put it, that Governor Manytuil will not dodge this vote of no confidence as it should be, and how he always used to maneuver in regard to his relationship with the president. Now, my question is, Edmund Yakani, do you believe the president will respect and uphold this decision by the Council of State? And if yes, then what would be the reaction if president is going to relieve Joseph Manytuil? And remember, there are
to be honest with you,
there are 2 lions here.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go on.
I couldn't get the last part of your question, but what I will respond is that President have no any option now because his leadership is under challenge. In terms of a body like Council of State reaching a vote of no confidence against Manytuil, President cannot dodge that. If he dodge that, clearly he tells the Council of States, I don't listen to you, and I'm not accountable to you, and you are not an entity that is entrusted by Constitution as the senators that will manage the affairs of the states. That undermines the constitutional mandate of the establishment of the Council of States, and I don't think President can dodge that. That's one thing I'd like to say. And obviously, it's going to be an internal party issue of the SPLM where Manytuil comes from. So the party have to look for a candidate. That means the party have to do their own internal primaries to bring another candidate to replace Manytuil. But for the personality of the president, if really he tend not to respond to the decision of the Council of States, now his leadership is under challenge. And that also set a precedency that other governors will use it one day if they come to similar crisis. So I think as a best way forward for the president is to respond to the position of the Council of States. Otherwise, if he fails to respond, this is going to create a tension between the president and the state's management, political management of the states. And also, if other governors commit similar things, Council of States will not be responsive and they not exercise their mandate. But at the same time, also that diffused or minimize the power of the president in terms of responding to constitutional calls, because the call of vote of no confidence by the Council of States is a constitutional call and is a call of unanimous position of the parties to the agreement. So that means the position and the powers and the spirit of the agreement was exercised. So you can't use the agreement as a way of escaping responding to that. But also, as I said, if President tend not to execute this particular direction of the Council of States, that is reducing his personality as a head of the state and as a political leader in charge of implementing the agreement and making sure that issues of accountability and justice are taken serious at state level. But also remember, still we're in the implementation of the agreement. There's a chapter 5 of the agreement. This may be part and parcel of atrocities that are committed in the lifespan of the agreement. So the question of this becoming a case of a justice and accountability in possible transitional mechanism like hybrid court will be possible, that even president may be questioned to answer if he failed to hold Manytuil accountable, because Sudan have responded, and I think South Sudan needs to respond in the same manner that Sudan have responded. So for me, it is a question of between president accept himself to be exposed as a person who condone violation of human rights that we have seen as inhuman, degrading, or president respond to the Council of States to clear himself if one day, one time in future, under the Chapter 5 of the agreement, this case is taken to hybrid court. So for the best interest of the president is to execute the decision of the Council of States and allow SPLM, caucus of unity state, to choose another candidate for appointment or 3 candidates for appointment by the president to replace Governor Manytuil, because as I said, it's really inhuman and degrading. And one thing that I'm so much disturbed is that I really honestly, sincerely respect Manytuil, the level of education, the level of being socialized and civilized person. I don't know why he allowed that to happen in front of him as a governor. How much painful. And remember, one of the things that also it contradicts is that the brother of the late commissioner of Mayom, who is a security advisor of the president, Tutkeo, have made it very clear during the funeral that there will be no revenge. And Tutkeo have said there's not be revenge. They as a family, he as a brother of late brother of commissioner, he will not revenge on that. But the way how this exercise of extrajudicial killing of the 3 soldiers and the burning of the soldier have shown clear it's a revenge. And the worst part of it is that honorable governor can't escape because it's executed in front of him, the burial, he made statements, his pictures were taken. That means he is primarily present during the execution as a chairperson of the Security Committee of Unity State. So there's a lot of implications with that in terms of human rights, in terms of rule of law, in terms of justice and accountability. So if President dodge to respect the position of the Council of States, his leadership is under question. 1, he has set precedents that any governor can do similar exercise. 2, he has also given a precedent that if any governor do something like that, he cannot be punished, because any other governor, if you want to punish, say, what happened by then with Manytuil? Why is he not punished? Why me now? So before you start with me, and that will likely mobilize more revolution. But also it will undermine the constitutional mandate of the Council of States. And the Council of States is a body that is entrusted by Constitution. But secondly, also undermine the spirit of the agreement, because that's a decision of the parties that are seeking the agreement, they have agreed unanimously. So I don't think President really will dodge that. It's another opportunity for him to avoid that if he really have political analysis that are very strong, and his position as a president, as head of state. Of course, he may escape it now, but once come as a case of hybrid court, he can't escape. He will be dragged and will be held accountable. And even if it's not taken to the hybrid court, being indicted for that particular case by itself is a political damaging position that somebody like His Excellency President will never allow to happen to him with the legacy that he wants by ending his presidency in the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you over there.
Thank you, Edmund, for that. It's true indeed, because your analysis are based on the implications if President failed to acknowledge and act upon the vote of no confidence by the Council of State. But if we look at the alien behaviors which have just emerged recently, especially this year, from the governor of Unity State, Joseph Manytuil, you may ask yourself, where and how did mere governor have such powers? You gave good example of dredging. The machineries were brought to Unity State, he went and received them. And when the public reached out and talked to the leadership and shout, the president came out publicly to say that I don't know who gave Egypt authorities to deliver their equipment in South Sudan soil. So almost everyone denied that. And when president suspend dredging to allow public consultation to take its course, and then when Manytuil ordered civilians or citizens to go into the river, and knowing very well in that river there are a lot of deadly animals inside the river, the like of crocodile, the snake, and other things. He allowed citizens to do that, and pictures were taken in order to give pressure to the president. That was his political move. And immediately after that, then the extrajudicial killing of the 4 army soldiers, which are members of South Sudan People's Movement, led by former General Stephen Boy. And when public also got the video clip and start condemning such action, the president himself said he did not even give an order for such extrajudicial killing. The Minister of Defense said the same thing. The spokesperson of South Sudan People Defense Forces said the same thing. The Chief of General Staff said the same thing. And then the question remains even now, which is unanswered, is who gave Manytuil powers to do so? And many rumors said it could possibly be presidential advisor. And immediately 2 days after the event, the Sudan leadership, the military leadership in Sudan, suspend or expelled the governor of Western or Southern Kordofan, commissioner of Fula, and the commander of Sudan's army in that area of Fula. And South Sudan, who committed such atrocities, did not say anything. President gave it deaf ears. And when you look at the move of security advisor now, it tells you that many citizens have no faith that maybe a president will act on vote of no confidence, simply because the person who gave powers is yet to be known. And this could be the first investigation by the president himself, because it undermines his authorities as the president of the republic, and it really undermines his powers. And remember, history will record him, not Tutke or not Manytuil. They will be recorded as secondary factors in the book of history. But the primary person is President Salva Kiir. Now it's almost going to 1 month. No action at all has been taken by the leadership of our country. And this thing has given a lot of doubt to the citizen. Now you said government might act, the president might act upon that vote of no confidence. What will be the reaction from Manytuil? Don't you think there could possibly be a certain fear that prevent President Salva Kiir to act. When you look at his body language during his meeting with the governor, it sent a clear message, a very strong message, that president is not happy with the Manytuil. But what prevented him to act? There could possibly be something bigger than what we know that president is fearing in case if he act. And you know, Upper Nile is becoming a good hub of rebellion. Kindly, what will be the reaction of Manytuil? And considering his speech during Council of Ministers, he was not fearing anything. He was telling them, stop listening to the rumors on social media and listen to us. So what is rumors about that? This is the question now. The video was out. Everyone has seen the videos, including international communities. Then why do you call that rumors? Thank you. Tell us about his reaction, if he is going to be relieved.
Sorry, the internet is a bit challenging, but I pick your questions partly. One, in terms of fears, I think the fears is around the stability in the oil fields. That decision of acting on that vote of no confidence might have relations with the stability in the oil field. And remember, Unity is one of the biggest oil fields production sites. So that may be the biggest fear, that it may be bigger in terms of acting on that vote of no confidence. What will that mean to the oil fields in terms of political disagreement within the constituency of Manytuil, and specifically also the constituency of the Bulnuer? That may be the possible fear in terms of having allegiance and alliances within that particular section of the Bulnuer in Unity State, at the same time also the oil fields of Unity State. That may be one of the biggest fear that may somehow delay the act on executing the vote of no confidence. That's one thing that I will bring it forward that might not be there. Two, also is the relations between the security advisor and the president, and the level of the influence of the security advisor on the president in terms of political affairs of Unity State. That may be another factor that may also hinder the execution of the vote of no confidence. But anyway, what I'd like to say is that constitutionally, president is the only person who have an authority to pass death penalty, being it through court martial or being it through whatever legal process, nobody else. And that takes us back to the question of who authorized that execution, and which is extrajudiciary killing. Nobody in the country by the constitution is allowed to do that except the president. And the president can't do that without a legal process. If it's court martial, there's a military justice procedures. If it's a normal court process, there's also procedures. So the question is, where does the governor get that power from, and who authorized that to be happening? And the person who authorized, who is that person? What type of authority does he have above the authority of the president? Because Article 101 of the Constitution gives the president the mandate to execute death penalty. So now, where does this person have his powers? Which article does he use, and in which part of the Constitution was that center of decision being authorized? So that is going to be the arguments around if president refused. But I think as a political responsibility for the president, it is for his best interest to execute the vote of no confidence without any doubt, regardless of any other factors that he may consider them as a fear in terms of stability in the oil field, political alliances within the Unity State politicians. I think he need to really to avoid that by showing leadership skills. But as you said, it is a crime written against the leadership of the day, and that will be, he will be held accountable in terms of what has gone wrong and what has happened. So if he doesn't execute, then he record the case against himself. He record the case against himself if he failed to execute it. But if he execute it, then he free himself from being questioned about accountability and justice to that particular issue. So I think for me, it's for his best interest to respond to a vote of no confidence. And of course, whatever interventions people have after the video was out, and of course we are aware that the person who was involved in recorded video was executed. I don't know how true it is that we want to wait, and of course rumors are coming that he's already executed. So that's one thing that to do. Secondly, look at the way how Sudan cleaned their hands, because it is a global human rights issue under global human rights standard, and that's why Sudan have to act quickly the military leadership to show commitment for accountability and justice. So the ball is played back to us. And of course, our security advisor is in Khartoum now negotiating. That whether that negotiation will mean undermining the vote of no confidence, I don't know. But for both the security advisor and the president, for their own personal reputation, not to be indicted, it's better to execute the vote of no confidence and make sure that besides the vote of no confidence, those who are involved in executing are held accountable. Because vote of no confidence is not enough for justice and accountability. Justice and accountability is beyond vote of no confidence. Vote of no confidence is a political position and political disappointment of the Council of States or the Senate. It's been disappointed with that decision. But it still does that not equate to a complete accountability and justice until those who execute that particular exercise are held accountable, and the person behind the order or the directives is also held accountable. And they have to face cost of the court of law. So whatever the cost of law cost will be, they have to face it. So for me, still more are required. But without executing, because at least executing the vote of no confidence, it reduces the image of the image of the president being tarnished in his leadership, and the image of the country being tarnished. And that's why Sudan have to rush, because Sudan knew that they can't take to court of law, but Sudan have to rush to take that political decision. So equal political decision of Sudan is the vote of no confidence, but still justice and accountability are required on the behaviors of how that extrajudiciary killing exercise was executed. So it's a big, big blow for His Excellency President if he undermined the vote of no confidence, and if he didn't proceed beyond the vote of no confidence in holding those who execute accountable, and also at the same time in making sure that investigation is done in credible and independent way. And remember, the Chief of Staff have said he's going to commission an investigation. Besides the vote of no confidence, still the Chief of Staff have to continue as the leader of the military with independent investigation, bring that results, and the findings of the investigation must be executed. So don't end up like other investigations we have seen in the Twitch and the Ngok Denka crisis, we have seen in Kajukeji crisis, and we have seen now in Yei, similar exercise happened to one of the senior military commander who was executed. So still the lot of exercise that are tarnishing the image of the president is happening, and of course he needs to take responsibility for that, but also the military leadership, the defense leadership of the South Sudan, because also the image of our army, South Sudan People's Defense Force image have already been tarnished by this incident in Mayom, by this incident in Yei, and by this incident in Kajukeji. So the leadership of defense, like the Chief of Staff, need to repair the damage. He need to really repair the damage, and repairing the damage, it means making sure accountability and justice holds, and no punitive, no impunity is embraced. So there's a need for us not to embrace impunity. And the best is vote of no confidence politically is executed, but still we need to move beyond the vote of no confidence in making sure those who are behind the orders and those who execute the orders are held accountable. But this not only end up with Mayom, as I mentioned, there's a case of the senior officer in Yei who was also almost murdered in the same way, and the incident of civilians being murdered in Kajukeji. And remember also the case of Mayom is still against the image of the army. So I think there's a lot of that's on the table of the military leadership that need to be cleared by the leadership. Not only this exercise of Manytuil or Yei or Kajukeji, but Mayom, all these particular cases need to be handled by the military leaders. And I think that now has come to the CDF. And I don't know to what level is the CDF offering advice to the president, because president is commander-in-chief and CDF is immediately helping him. And that's a really very big blow to the image of the country. So for me, my recommendation is that president have not to dodge. He need to execute and go beyond the vote of no confidence. On Mayom case, on Yei case, on Kajukeji case, and also on Lair case, which has happened. So these are all incidents that have tarnished the image of our army. Thank you. Over there.
Yeah, thank you, Edmund Yakani. It's true, you put it correctly, that president need to make a choice between his legacy, what he need to be remembered for. Because at the end of the day, president will retire. But if you said president will retire now in Juba, they will treat you like you are another devil. But this is the nature. It is a nature. You may enjoy something today, but tomorrow you will not enjoy it. What will president be remembered for? He have to choose between his friendship with security advisor, his friendship with the Manytuil, and his legacy. Let's not talk about the South Sudan as the country. it was very unfortunate that the mere military government in Sudan can act very quickly, and the democratic leadership in South Sudan is too slow to act. It's something that's a bit logic sometimes. Thank you so much for that. Internet is really disturbing us, and I believe the question of education, we really need to tackle it as a free-day topic, because there is a lot of things that are happening in our education sector in the country now regarding to how the books are being given to our students, and even the teaching in our country, and the cheating as well. Because if you look at the exams, every year exams, there must be cheating, either primary, high school, and even universities. So you will talk briefly about yesterday conference, which was attended by all governors of attended states, and how the Minister of Higher Education went to Lagos State for 3 days conference under the theme of educational transformation. Thereafter, we will allow you to go and rest, and we will give this internet a chance. Thank you.
Give this internet chance. I'm not an educationalist by profession, but I will speak on things that are really challenging our educational system. As you said, corruption associated with the primary living exams that reduce the quality of our primary living exams. 2, corruption with the money that is the only developmental money, what do you call the guest, which is a British government money to help vulnerable girls to study. Some of this money are really looted, and very clear. You have seen how the governor of Lake State, Honorable Manytuil, have raised it up. The governor of Lake State have said he's going to deal with public officials that have had education money. And remember, there was a whistleblower and then in Lake State who raised a concern of how education money was being had. The whistleblower was detained for quite a number of years, for quite a number of months, and then later on he was released without facing any court of law. And there's quite a number of whistleblowers. Remember also the case of governor of Western Equatorial State, Futuyo, when Futuyo distributed 10 million to each county, and that have raised a big public outcry. What about other governors? What do they have? Because Futuyo have to give 10 million to each county and say this money is for education, and each other states are asking their governors what went wrong, and some governors have to add the money, and then they have to be forced to repay that money. So I think there's a huge cases of corruption in our general education system. Leakage of exams is really a big issue in terms of credibility of the primary living certificate, and also corruption of money that is associated with education. That's a problem. But also the question of quality of teachers training by the new curriculum. As I said, I'm not an educationalist. I'm not talking more about the curriculum, but the new curriculum is questionable in terms of its quality and the way how it produced. For example, we are conflict-prone state. In the new general education curriculum, there's nothing to do with peace building besides our long history of violent armed conflict that we're supposed to have things to do with peace building, with counseling, sort of like really changing the mindset from a mindset of a guerrilla, from a mindset of a war to a mindset of peace. We don't have enough in the education curriculum around the peace. So I'm not an educationalist, but I'll say these are the few things that in the education sector is really disturbing us. Exams being leaked always, and that has a big problem about the quality of the exams. And high marks, where you see almost one school students almost over 50 score 90, over 90%. That's really disturbing. That how comes one particular school student score that high marks? Of course, this linked with the leakage of the exams and the corruption that's happening in exams. So I think that's a very good call that the president have called for the governors, and now they're in Juba, they're discussing it. We hope that the governors will take it serious, and the governors will accomplish the call for reforms in the education sector that have been asked by so many people about, like, we need to really see reform in our education sector. So I think that for me is something that is very important, that our leadership of the country have to take into account, and in particular, His Excellency President have to take that serious into an account. So for me, that's what is happening. But of course, with the education system, and we have a lot to do with our curriculum for general education, but even our secondary education system still, there's a lot of leakages. we hope that they will really transform the education sector and turn it to be a productive sector and turn it to be a professional and a sector with quality that produce a human resource that respond. Because these days you find you realize that secondary leavers with high marks, when they join the universities, they're able to express themselves and they're able to interact with their lecturers. And people start asking, how do these students got these high marks that they're unable to express themselves in a lecture room of university for their first year? So everybody started questioning their credibility of getting those high marks that they have received and they have joined.
Yeah, network has resumed its madness. So after all, we have already exhausted the topic which we were talking about. I think to our viewers, allowed me on behalf of Lagos State Media to give a vote of thanks to the viewers, especially. Thank you so much for always following Lagos State Media. We appreciate your time, and we thank our guest, Mr. Edmund Yakani. Despite the complication of internet, he always try to come and talk to us and answer some few questions according to his perspective. But we all know nobody has a monopoly of wisdom. We are all sharing ideas, and one of the people or the guests' ideas should not be taken as the serious issue or the serious case. We are just here to share our ideas. Yeah, our guest is here back to the studio, Mr. Edmund Yakani. Kindly, can you give us your last remark, because internet is really disturbing you, so that we can allow it you. Thank you. It. You can unmute yourself, Mr. Edmund.
Raise up our voices. Presidents respect. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I just put off my camera because to allow me to at least.
Exactly, do that.
Use the internet in a better way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to say first, and have to respect that. Not escape, so you need to respond for that, and we hope that at least the Council of State with regards to issue of respecting constitutional mandate and constitutional practices, like decisions made by the Council of States, as we reach consensus on fighting corruption in the education sector, as we have seen in the past several times.
It's very unfortunate.
More relevant.
Yeah,
to the
it's okay.
of
Go on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Edmund Yakani. We really appreciate your time, despite the implication and the complications of internet. We thank you so much for your time, and we wish you well. Stay in a will, and once you are back to Juba, we will still have more conversation in regard to the affairs of our country. It is the best of interest of every citizen to have information, and to analyze the information will be upon themselves what to do with the information, because information is power. We thank you so much for that and wish you a lovely evening on the other side of Will Town. To our viewers, thank you so much and thanks you once again. Reminder, we will be hosting Leg State Honorable Minister of Education, Nelson Makoy Makpur, within next 15 minutes. So kindly, if you are a citizen of Leg State, and if you are South Sudanese who want to hear what is happening in Leg State in terms of education, and then you are invited to attend the show to come and listen to our guest and our Minister of Education. Thank you so much. I will yield it back to my chairman, Isaac Tieng. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Edmund Yakani. I have to salute you for your courage, and the network didn't allow us to give us enough time to share the news with you, and thank you so much, SG Majong Makur Malak, and all our audience. Please just tune in. We are coming live again with the Minister of Education of Lagos State, as General Secretary has put it on. Sudan Bitana Lissa Mujahaja, we still have a lot of problems that are facing us. So, catch up soon.
Sudan Mujaja, Mafira Lena, Yalna Maidin, Bainanarabuna. Belena Taban Mintamani Arabuna Yalishu Bayana Beledna Mamurta Sudan Mujaja Mafira Lena Yalna Maidin Bainana Rabuna Yachak Sudan Yakwana Shitel Kumbelet Fiu Mushakil Dalbu Miten Verta Miten Verta Dalbu Miten Verta.
It's your boy Young I give him that time. Pancho leg stay the Panchi America. Panji Dwal, Pancho leg stay the Panchi America. Panji Dwal, Ban walk on the lake, Kankara water no watching. Oga level leg, gear power, leg. Panda with Yay, Panchi America. Panya Dwalabano, Chingatongo Pandon, could you ever buy a check out? Papu Panda Jiro, what they be Dwalaventing. Stay the Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Pancha leg stay the Panchi America, Panji Dwal, Ban walk on the lake, Kankara water no watching, Oga level leg, gear power, leg, Panda with Yay, Panchi America, Panya Dwalamano, Chingatongo Pandon, could you ever buy a check out? Paku Panda Jiro, what they be Dwalaventing.